I'm very perplexed about one thing. As I shared in the beginning, we have quite a number of people on all the batches, and the number of questions we have received this time are very low. Maybe because you're shy, or maybe because you don't want to ask. But just keep it going. You have to ask questions to have this knowledge gaps filled, so that you have these concepts really clear. If you have it clear, that's great. If not, feel free to email Swati, so that we'll have in the next discussion board.
Dr.
With
Abhishek,
that,
one
yeah,
quick
sure.
question. We will send it to your email or
Swati,
Swati?
Swati.
Swati. Okay. Thank you.
So with that, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to bring Z. How come you're not on video? You have to look at
Because
you have to look at my hair and take some inspiration and come on video.
next time, next time.
You sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay, guys. Dr. Z, I call her Z, but her full name is Hepsiba Adamu, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Yes. So she's a very good student of us. She was, I should say. She joined. I mean, I'll let her talk, but the whole reason for her to be here on this call is basically we recently had the opportunity to work with her and place her as a medical reviewer because of her medical background. She was one thing I can tell you is not most of the times people do this. When she completed the course, we had a conversation whether we need to apply for drug safety associate role or for a medical reviewer role. I was always telling her to get into the industry with whatever experience and kind of climb her way. But she was very adamant in saying that, no, I want to be a medical reviewer. I think that is what I want to do. And even if it takes time, that's okay. Now, I'm not saying that this is what everyone who is an MD on this call has to do. Um, it has to be with what confidence you gain from this course. It's not about the billing rate, it's not about the money you're going to make and all those things, but it has to be with what is easier or what you're comfortable with. So but she was very adamant in saying that, no doc, I want to be a medical reviewer. I think I have it in me to do the interviews and kind of get into the industry as a medical reviewer. I don't want to waste time being an associate. Now, it depends from person to person, so please be vigilant about what she says. But I'll leave the floor open for any kind of questions. Of course, you can't ask her some personal questions, which she might not answer. But other than that, all yours, Z, please introduce yourself and please answer some of the questions which will help everyone on this call.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Hepzibah Adamu. As Dr. Abhishek mentioned, I had the pleasure of taking this course. When I first started this course, I hadn't had any previous experience in pharmacovigilance. So I was a bit nervous, but I started the course anyway. And I can tell you that everything that I learned truly helped me. So I would encourage everyone, like, I don't know where you are in the process of this course, but take time to not just quickly, go through the videos or anything, but really understand what you're being taught, and then always refresh what you learn. Like, maybe, I don't know, whatever works for you, maybe at the end of the week, maybe at the end of the month, make sure you're up to date on your information, because that's going to help you once you're going through the interview process. So especially if you don't have experience in the field, you're really going to be grateful that you did that. And then when it comes to the interview process, whatever your fears are, just throw it out the window, because that's not the time to be afraid. Just trust in what you've already been taught, and then follow the instructions that you're given, because MediPharm Solutions, definitely, they help in prepping. So don't feel like, oh, okay, I just took the course, I'll be okay. If you've never been in the PV industry, don't I guess don't fake it. Just listen to what they say, allow them to prep you and coach you, and you won't regret it. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but that's my 2 cents. That's what really helped me, and that's why I had the confidence to go for what I wanted.
I do have a question. So what is the timeline between when you took the course and when you actually got placed into a job, or when you got the job?
For me, I felt like it was fairly quickly. I was willing to wait, but I don't think it was more than 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How long has it been since you've been, graduated, and what is the time frame between that and you taking up the MediPharm course?
Okay, so I graduated a while ago. So I've been doing other things in the medical field, different things like in research and stuff like that. So I was still active in the medical field, but I was new to the PV industry. So I took this course like late last year, like towards the end of last year. So I guess the mid to end of last year, I want to say. And then, I went, I prepared with MediPharm Solutions, and they really helped me. I was really surprised that I got, a job as quick as I did, but I was happy nonetheless.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So how long did the process take for you though, after you're done with your MediPharm?
I feel like I took like maybe a few weeks just to prepare. And then I started actively searching with their help for a position. Oh, someone wrote congratulations. Thank you.
So,
Hi, Dr. Z.
so the other reason why I bought Z, I forgot, is Z, what is your where do you come from, like originally?
Originally Nigeria. So I
So
don't
I
know if I have
want to say that you see a lot of Indian faces on the call, and you think
Yes.
drug safety is taken over by Indian people. It's not true. There
Yeah.
are other folks as well. There is
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
What you're thinking? What, Shama?
I was thinking like, because I was like searching other courses before I got to MediPharm, and like 99% of them like instructors, and they're all Indian. So I was like, okay, is this like Indian kind of business? But
So,
like,
I don't know if you know
Yes,
this
yes, yes.
stand-up comedian Russell Peters. You know that?
yes, I know him. Yeah, that's
He says that you cannot run away from Indians and Chinese. They're a billion people each.
yes, you guys are a lot.
Yeah, Z, go please.
Yeah,
Go.
Dr. Zay,
Uh,
how long
but
have you been in this job now, and how comfortable are you starting off?
Okay, so I've been here. I've been in like a month in, but I want to encourage as well to encourage everyone. Like once you start a position, they are going to train you, because I feel like every company has their own rules. So you have to learn the company rules. You have to learn how they do things, because one company might not do it the same. So you will get training, additionally to the one that you've already received through MediPharm Solutions.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Dr. Z, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a question. So, every job process, they're asking experience. Based on the experience they're going to choose. So you said you didn't have any experience previously, and what kind of information you added them to call you?
Okay. So it depends on the job you're applying to. Some don't really require much experience, surprisingly, but they want you to have a medical degree at least, because they're using your medical knowledge. They feel like they can train you to do what you need to do, right? But you've already been trained through this course, so you have like a one-up, over other people.
Yeah, did you get a chance to mention this? You completed this course in your resume?
No, I'm trying to remember if I have that in my resume. No, I think I just maybe put my experience, like what I know, like about the industry. But you're gonna get help with all of that. So like what you're learning, like you're familiar. You can write like you're familiar with this. You're familiar like with this database. I'm sure you guys are learning about Argus and all that kind of stuff. So, but once you get the MediPharm Solutions is gonna help you, prep and everything, and with your resume. So you'll know how to add that to it. What you learned in this course on there.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for us that are Indians, we are used to these things, but up Nigeria. So you have a question, by the way.
Okay, no problem.
So I also understand that PV is very broad, and we're going through, I don't want to call it a snippet based off on what Abhishek, who's a representative of MediPharm, is showing us and teaching us. I just want to ask, for your preparation for your interview, did you actually have to know back to back, every single detail of the module, or you relied solely on the preparation from Abhishek? Just because, most of us are working, and most of us also do the course, so it gets a little overwhelming, but we're going through the module, we're understanding it. So the question is, you say, okay, you know what, I must know this module back to back to back, every single detail in the module, or in the modules rather, before you actually went on for your interview? Or was the interview preparation more useful, since I'm assuming that you actually learn better on the job? Because I'm for one, I feel that probably I have to go through all the modules and understand it back to back before I even attempt to try.
Okay. So I don't know if it's possible to know like every single sentence that Dr. Abhishek said, but do complete the modules and do understand it. That's number one. Like don't start interviews when you don't understand it. But his interview prep helped like tremendously. So they work hand in hand, but don't get flustered if you don't remember like some minute information or something like that. Don't get you have to be confident and you have to be relaxed. It's impossible to know everything in the world, right? Because everybody's different. They might not ask you a specific question pertaining to PV. They might ask you, why is the sky blue? You have to tell them what, so you just have to be confident.
So you say your interview process didn't have much to do with in relation to PV, kind of, sort of?
No, so each one was different. So it depends on the interviewer. Some are interested, in your background. Some are interested in what you know about PV. Some are interested, do you know about, a certain subject? So it all depends on who interviews you. So that's why I said it's impossible to know every single thing, right? But the interview prep helped tremendously. That's all I can say. It helped a lot.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing her on board. Thank you.
Yeah.
How many interviews?
Some of the questions that was thrown at you for medical review per se, what would you say?
Depending on who interviewed.
So is that a panel interview then? So there were more than one, so you...
Yeah. Okay. So some companies will just have like one interview. Some will have like a series of interviews. You would have to interview with one person, then you interview with another person, then you interview with the hiring manager, or it might be a panel of people who interview you. So it's different, right? So and so if you have a panel, everyone's going to ask a different question. Some might be more interested in your medical knowledge. Some might be interested in your experience. Some might be interested in how you get along with other employees, because the PV industry, it's a team effort. Can you play on a team? Can you work with other people? Are you going to help their process run smoothly? So some people are more concerned with that.
So how was your, process? Was it from a recruiter to hiring manager to a panel interview, or what exactly how did your interview go?
Okay, so I had some like that. I had one was like direct like a direct hire. So, but it was like in stages. And then I had like just like a one-on-one. So it varies. It varies. So.
I'm sorry, you stated that you didn't put MediPharm on your resume, but that you knew some systems, like for instance, Argus. Did they ask you then the source, like how you knew this or from where you got it based on experience? And then if yes, how did you describe MediPharm?
Okay, so I had help, with integrating it in my CV. So that's why I said there, like, I don't want to get too in detail about it, but they'll help you integrate it into your CV as well. So yeah, and you guys have because you're learning how to do it. So they're gonna help you know how to present it on your CV, and then you'll be able to explain it. They're gonna ask you. They're not gonna ask you in-depth questions about it. They'll ask you point blank. They'll just ask you, do you know about Argus? You say yes. They're not gonna ask you, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or at least they didn't ask me, how do you do each step? So I don't know if that answers your question.
Abhishek, just a comment. It would be great to have like a live session interview whereby you have a student and you kind of interview them based on how it would go. I don't know if that's something you plan on doing or if you have a module on that.
That's a good suggestion. We had it, but we ran into issues with that because most of the times the interview prep is based on the job description, because I really want to nail the interview based on the job description. Let's say you are going for a position in Pfizer. This is a long answer, but I want everyone to understand this. If let's say you're going for a drug safety associate position in Pfizer, and I know how Pfizer workflow is, I know how much of cases they do, they're very specific to what they want. So once I start looking at the job, so once you do the marketing with us, what we do is once you receive an interview scheduled, confirmed, you have to send us the job description, you have to send us who is interviewing you. There are so many things that you will be doing in an email that will really make us understand like how this interview is going to be conducted. We take the interviews very serious, and we make sure that we spend at least 30-40 minutes in prepping the interview. Probably the interview might last only 15 minutes, but the prep call for each interview is like 30-40 minutes. So in that 30 minutes I will tell you, this is what they are looking for from the job description, and these are some of the questions that you can expect from this job description, and from where Pfizer is right now, why they are hiring. There are some internal tips why they are hiring, how many people they are hiring, why they are how fast they are hiring, how soon is this position open. There are more things than you can think of that will come into play at that point in time. So I put all those things in the 30-minute call, sometimes not even the subject, because I'm sure by the end of this course most of you will be super prepared with the subject, but what you may not know is the internal dynamics of the department and why they are hiring, and what are the one or two things that you need to stress in your initial remarks right away. Like if you say, I'm very proficient in Argus data entry, I can do Medra coding without any supervision. That's it. That's all they want to hear, because that's what they're missing in the department. I'm just giving an example. So answering your question, we had this kind of calls record where I would talk to the student one-on-one, and those calls were recorded and we placed them on the modules. But it kind of backfired because sometimes you might get the same position, same title, the same company, but the questions are different sometimes because of the timeline in which they are being asked. So that's why we have taken it back. But if we want to do it, we can do it every week. We have at least 3-4 calls with folks in marketing right now. We can do that, but you got to use it with a lot of common sense. You can't just go with, oh, this is Pfizer, this is drug safety associate role, so these are the questions asked. That's exactly not how it happens. So you got to use it with pinch of salt, maybe it's a completely different interview. Is that making sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't use a lot of common sense, which is very frustrating sometimes. Like they go with the title and the company and they say, oh, the question paper got leaked. No, it's not. And I had students who would get disappointed because they come back after the interview and say, I did not get the same questions. I really don't know how to answer that. You're not supposed to get the same questions. You're supposed to know the subject to answer the questions. So that's why we took it down, but we have tons of interviews like that. We can upload them into, I think there's one section called hidden interview questions. We used to have like 10, 20 videos in that. We can re-upload it and you can see it.
Yeah, I don't think, like you said, I don't think it's necessary because I did go over it. There was one module that had students whereby they talked about their job description. And I just felt like if you have a different role, then it might not apply to you. So I don't think that's necessary. Yeah.
I'm sorry, everyone. Can I please excuse myself because I'm actually getting married, so we have a family meeting like in a minute.
Congratulations!
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 Congrats!
Thank you for taking time, Dr. Z. Thank you for. She's getting married in Dubai.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Abhishek gave you.
Did you get a print?
Thank you for the flight tickets. Thank you for the suite. Thank you for everything. I'll see you September 3rd and 4th.
I'm hoping Abhishek gave you your cup from this fall.
My extended family from India is also coming to your wedding, so I need to.
No problem. No problem. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Tanvir had one question.
Yeah, one question. Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Z, hi. Did you do any internship with the MediPharm Solution or just asking?
No. I didn't. I just went straight to for me, I'm just like when I want something, I go for it. So I didn't do any of that. I just had a target in mind and I went straight for the target. And it worked.
Great, that's great. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Students in MediPharm always ask questions. Esther, especially.
Well, I'm just.
I can't hear your comment, Kelsey. What is it?
They just. I'm just teasing. I just say the students here ask too much questions. I'm just teasing Esther. Esther and Grace.
It's okay. I'm just.
So yeah. So basically, what this interview is, everything in a nutshell is. I was talking to the other group as well. Basics are important, concepts are important. Don't go into what if scenarios too much. Don't leave without knowing the basic concepts of drug safety. And trust me, these interviews cannot get simpler. There are probably one or two exceptions, but most of the interviews follow a very relaxed and simple hiring process. They don't ask you convoluted questions. Like what Kelsey was asking is really a very great question, because that really nails the essence of this calls that you guys are having. You don't need to know the modules in and out. You don't have to kind of get headache out of drug safety course. You just need to understand, that's why I always talk about what is the learning objective for this module. Like I'll never go more than 3 points. So if you write down those 3 points for every module, and if you can answer them and you can teach them to some other folks, your interviews will be a sale and your careers will start with such a great, you will start your careers with such a confidence that most people in safety with even 5-10 years of experience will not be able to match you. Because most of the times I see people getting hired because of their experience, but they lack the basics of drug safety and they learn that on the job, which is very irritating sometimes. So you guys are far ahead of the curve if you stick to the basics and kind of not get into too much of details and what if this, what if that. Yes, there is a lot of creativity that you can use in questioning, but when you come to answering, you got to stick to the basics. So what Kelsey asked Z is really the main crux of this call with Dr. Z. So if you can get that, like how she said, you need to know the concept, you need to be able to teach it to yourself or to some other person, you're basically done with this course. And that's all I just want to leave you with. Comprende? Samjayo? I don't know other languages right now.
Abhishek, can I just have a quick question?
Sure.
Would you mind sharing out how many interviews did she attend before she accepted the medical review position? Would you know?
I believe I helped her with 3 interviews. That's it, 3 or 4.
Okay.
But they happened very fast. I mean, that's one good thing about it's not like, when someone gets some kind of success, you think they're lucky. Absolutely not. She really had the guts to tell me that, Abhishek, I don't want to do what you want, what you are telling me. I want to go for drug safety position, drug safety physician position. And I said, it's going to take like 3 months. Are you okay in waiting for 3 months or 4 months? And she said, yes. So that's number one, because she knows what she wants, and that depends on the person. And number two is she got her interviews very fast because her ability to communicate with the recruiters was really very high. She was able to talk their language, what is the billing rate, what you're doing right now. And she would ask them literally, what are the next steps? She did not leave anything on the table. Most of the times we talk to recruiters for like 30 minutes. If you guys are talking to recruiters for more than 2 minutes, you are gone in the game. Recruiters make money out of you. Why you're supposed to talk to them for like 30 minutes? They're not your cousins. So you just have to talk to them for 2 minutes and say, what is the next steps? Are you applying? Are you submitting my resume to the client and getting me an interview next week? What are the next steps? Get to the point and say, this is my billing rate, or this is my experience level. This is what I have done. This is what I want to make out of this. So if you talk in their way, it becomes much easier to get through the process. You might be a beginner, but as you keep doing recruiter calls, you'll be very experienced in that. And some people need a lot of time, some people don't. And fortunately, she did not need a lot of time. 2 or 3 calls, she called me, she said, Abhishek, this is what happens with the recruiter calls. And I told her, like, why don't you do this? The next call, don't talk for more than 2 minutes, get to the point, get it submitted, get it going to the next level. Because recruiter is just a gatekeeper. They're not paying you. So she was able to take that information and apply it. Most people don't apply it. They just listen and ask, and they kind of go through that cycle. So before you ask, you need to apply and come back with a question. So that's what she did, number 2. And number 3 is, once she got interviews, I told her, like, drug safety interviews are very tricky. When it comes to tricky, what do I mean by that is, you will not be given a lot of chances at a higher level. You may get two to three interviews as a medical reviewer, and you need to crack one of it. So most people say that I've been doing drug safety interviews for like 1 year. No, you did not. You're just dabbling in it. So you're just applying on LinkedIn for 30 minutes and you think you are doing it right. No, it is not interviewing. For me, I think getting a job in drug safety is basically a sprint of 30 to 60 days. You got to get a job within 60 days, or else you're doing something wrong. And I know I might be a little bit aggressive, but I think that is how you get most things done in a fast manner, because you can be focused in a short period of time. Rather than stretching it to like months and you lose your focus. That's me, but that has helped most of the students. Some like it, some don't. But again, 3 months is enough time to get 5 interviews and crack one. So those are the things that I would say helped her and helped most of the students recently.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
So if she followed your advice and got in to the entry level, how long would it have taken her to basically climb up the ladder?
Probably 1 year from what I know her.
Okay.
Yeah, her billing rate is high. Trust me, she's not making meager money. I know I don't have to disclose that, but trust me, she's making above 20 G a month. So
quick question, Abhishek. Did recruiters reach out to her, or did
yes.
she? Oh, okay. All right.
So we send the resume to prime vendors and the recruiters we know, but they call the number on the resume, which is her number.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Dr. Abhishek, I know you said she had like medical background. Is it like IMG, or did she really actually finish her boards here?
She's an IMG. She did her medicine. She's from Nigeria. Her parents moved to US. She did her medicine from St. Kitts, which is in Caribbean. She did her clinical rotations in US for like 1 year or so. But she knows that she doesn't want to get into residency and all those things. So right after graduation, she did this kind of course. I think she graduated in 2019 or so, and then she took this course.
Hi, Abhishek. I want to ask.
Sure.
Why didn't she?
When she's online, you'd never asked her.
Well, I was planning to ask, but she ran away.
You just said that she had to go. I want to ask you why didn't she mention MediPharm Solutions in her resume?
Yeah, I mean, like it's her. So I mean, she did mention. I did not want to contradict what she's saying, but she did mention MediPharm Solutions in her resume in the certificates program, where she has put like I did ACLS, this, that. She did mention she had advanced drug safety and pharmacovigilance certification from MediPharm Solutions, and she mentioned what that certification entitled. That was there on her resume.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
One quick question, Dr. Abhishek. So
Sure.
it took her 3 months to land this job after she completed this course.
Yeah, probably, I guess. Yeah. But understand, she completed the end of November. So December month, we did not do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, end of November. I still remember that conversation. End of November, before Thanksgiving, she completed. And then we had this conversation regarding how to apply and all those things. Of course, December month was very good. We placed 17 people in 1 month, which never happened in the whole of 2020. It's just how it happens. And we were thinking, whoa, we're going to fall short of our numbers this year. And we placed 17 people in December in 1 month. And that never happened. It's just, you keep doing something every day, and results show up in the other end of the spectrum. So that's what happened in December, but that's what happened with Z. November end, she finished it. December, we did the resume, we started. She did not get much interviews. She started applying again in January. She landed a job in interviews in February, and she got placed in March.
That's amazing.
So the main source of applying for jobs was through LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn, Indeed, all these places are good, but I would not, once you find a job on LinkedIn or any other portals, it's too competitive because it's almost the tip of the iceberg, if I have to say. So the best way to do this is what we do with the vendors, with the recruiters, sending your resume directly to them. If you have a good pool of recruiters working for you to finding a job, you pretty much are done with drug safety jobs, because it's a very small world and there are only like probably 7 to 8 prime vendors who control the whole industry. And if you are in good terms with those 7, 8 vendors, prime vendors, you should really know every job before it hits the market. Like right now, we know what jobs are going to come in the month of May, June, July for the next 3 months, which companies will have where, or what positions will open up, and what is the billing rates, at least the ranges, because that's how every company will do hiring. They don't hire just out of blue, like, okay, tomorrow let's hire 20 people. That's not how it is done. They have to budget, they have to do a lot of internal things, approvals before they go onto the market. So that's what we know through recruiters, we know through vendors, where the jobs are opening, which are remote, which are not remote, what are they seeking. And then we go into the department to see what is being there. So that's how we work.
Abhishek, do you also advise regarding like when they ask you about what you're currently making for us that we're working in clinical research? Do you guys advise us on when they say how much you're currently making and what you would like? Do you guys kind of advise on what we should be looking for like for example a medical reviewer?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I always say, always upsell yourself. If someone says that we want you to work for 120,000, I would say don't drop the call as a medical reviewer.
Of course, of course. Okay, so we could talk about that once we.
Yeah. Once it's an individual thing. There's no one number to go with. I always say apply for a position of strength and stay in that position until you get hired. So you'll be happy once you get hired because you did not short sell yourself.
So, Dr. Abhishek, are you sending the resume of every student, or will you choose the good one and send the resume?
I mean, see, it's an individual thing. Some people, I mean, if I have to say, out of 10 people that we train, 6 people will market with us. And that is because of the rapport they have and the trust they have in what we do, how we do. The next 4, it's anyone's guess. They take some 2 will take time and come back. 2 are completely lost for reasons unknown. And that's how I think life works.
Abhishek, when you said market, is that like a different, I know what you mean by that, but do we have to kind of, compensate you guys for that additional, or that's, with what?
Yeah, we're trying to do that because of the tax reasons. We are trying to separate MediPharm Solutions from the consulting group. We may start it in the month of May. We started doing the paperwork. We might do it different from month of May. I'll let you know when we talk offline about it, because for tax reasons, we cannot do both things under the same entity, MediPharm Solutions. We have to have 2 different things as a sister concern or sister company or something like that. Even though it will be managed by me and other folks here, we have to have a different entity name, I guess.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Abhishek, you will be helping us to prepare a resume, right?
Yes.
I mean, like for me, I started the course in mid-January.
Right.
So maybe April and or next month.
Yes, we see the thing is, I look at your modules, I look at where you are, I can see what you're doing on a daily basis. We get weekly reports from LMS, which modules you have done, how many modules you have done, how focused are you in doing them in the class. So all those things do matter. Of course, by the end of the day, if you want us to market you, we will market you. But are you able to confidently take the interviews and crack them is the question.
Okay.
Yeah, that always falls on you.
Dr. Abhishek, I actually thought that from the beginning that marketing was part of the package, right?
Yes,
Body
yes.
training, marketing. So when you say you're going to divide it, or when you say if we want to, I didn't know there was if we. I thought it was part of the process.
I cannot force that on you. Some people say, hey, we want to take a break, or hey, we have someone who can think and things and get a job. So those are all individual things. I cannot force you to market with us. That is I don't think that works. It depends. And there are some people who would say, I would take my time. I come back after 6 months. I have a decent job. I learned a lot, and I'll take my time. And there are folks who do this course for 6 months. There's nothing much I can do about it. So I leave it to you. You guys can decide when you're done, and we will see where you are. And I already made some calls regarding folks in January, December, even February batch. I said, where are you in the course? I did some calls last weekend. I spoke to some students, and they told me like, this is where I am. I'm planning to complete it by the end of April or middle of May, so we can talk about it once we are done. So that's how it goes. It's an individual thing. I cannot put a lid on or a timeline on everyone. For a course, I can. For marketing, I cannot.
Abhishek, you're going to help us with mock interviews, correct?
What?
Mock
Yeah. We do that. Yeah.
And also you will be helping us in behavioral questions like
Let me put one sentence. We'll help you until you get a job. Okay.
Perfect.
That
That's
is
all we
the,
want to hear.
that's all I can say. This summer is super exciting for me because we have quality people like you, and we will place everyone. Our target this year is to pass that 84 last year we placed, and we already have placed more than that for last quarter. So I'm really looking forward for every one of, I mean, I'm not even joking. You think I'm positive. I'm not. I am crazily, insanely challenging myself with this. I want to place everyone on this call. I believe we have 67 people in the batch right now. So I want to place every one of you into jobs, because there are jobs. See, if there's no jobs, and if there is no opportunities, I might not be able to say this. But trust me, 1, 2, 3, 4 months, you should actually come on the call, probably in the month of August or September, and do what Z did. It's just a matter of time, but I can see that because I have done this again and again. You may not be able to see that because you have not seen yourself in that capacity, and that's okay. That is where I come into the play to hold your hand and help you. So don't ask me whether I can help you. I will, as I did everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek. You're the best.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek. I think it's just safe to say you are the best.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.
That gives a lot of confidence. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank
It's
you.
really
Guide him
motivational
to all
also.
have one day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dr.
Thank you.